Welcome to Toffee TV. Me and Baz back again in the regime. He's doing his waves early.
Just mixing it up. It's a new Everton. You mix it up. You don't
pulling out the waves early. We've done a couple of videos this week regarding Ronald Koeman, and the first time we've had a chance to really talk about it. A thing that's been popping up for a while, is the director of football. Some people don't quite understand what a director of football is.
Bill Kenmack didn't understand what he said.
He doesn't want to understand because effectively he's taking his job.
He said that, to be fair.
But that's what I mean. The very basics of it. If you want to look at it a certain way, a director of football will come in and basically take over the role that Bill Kenmack serves or has been serving to a point. Someone who goes in, does all the negotiations on a player, and that's surely got to be a good thing.
It's a specialised role now, isn't it? Football is changing dramatically. I think it's a case of the thing I don't like about them is that in some models is that I don't personally, I'm not a fan of. We'll buy the players, and you just coach them. I'm not really a fan of that. I'm yet to see in England where it's really worked. But I think Ronald Koeman is used to working with what he's been sounded out about it by Farhad Moshiri. He's happy with it by all accounts. He worked closely with Les Reed at Southampton in terms of they sat together and went, the players identified, do we like this, can we work with this, yes. And that's probably why they've had so much success at Southampton, replacing effectively about 7 or 8 players that he's had to do, big players for them. You forget the players he's lost at Southampton. It's only the other day when I was reading through them. Unbelievable when you say, oh yeah, he had to rebuild, when you actually remember like the Lovren and Lallana and Alderweireld and these kind of players who were in his team and went out, Luke Shaw, so that's why they've been good, because he works together. So I think that model for Everton, with him very much involved in player recruitment, I think can only be a good thing. Yeah, and we've had, this name that no one knew he was about a month ago, Monchi at Seville. We did.
We did. No, what I mean is, though, this Monchi this and Monchi that, Moshi Monchi,
Moshiri Monchi.
It's everyone's suddenly, with this and that, but I think what's important is about having a director of football is, as we spoke about in previous videos, managers come and go, but if you can keep a director of football and you can keep things together, I think that's one really important thing at a football club. Keep everything ticking over. You look, Bayern Munich, I've spoken about this before, they do it brilliantly. They have Sammer, ex-player, brilliant player, but he's also a very intelligent man. I've seen the interview with him. He's a very clever man. He's not just a football side, he's got a business brain as well, and he knows. He's, if you want to go into the little stupid things, he knows when a buy is a good commercial buy, and he knows when the buy is a good football buy, and he knows how a buy will lead into sponsors and when to sell. And they, at the end of the season, they knew they were losing Pep Guardiola, and they knew they were bringing in Carlo Ancelotti, but they just went out and bought 2 of the best players in Europe anyway. And it didn't really matter who the manager was. It was like, no, we're Bayern Munich, we're getting him, and we're getting him. If we don't get him now, someone else might get him. So it's that's where it's important. It's about not stockpiling, but having the best players ready to come in and play at your football club, regardless. Because a manager, look at the idea with Southampton. There was a good 4-week period there where Southampton mightn't have known whether they were coming or going, and we didn't know if we were coming or going. So it was almost like, no. But what I mean is, though,
no, I know what you mean. Yeah.
What I mean is, though, is that you can have those periods where you don't know what's going on, but the football's got to keep going. And if you've got a director of football in there, everything just keeps ticking over. Well, your manager might just resign one day, but everything just keeps ticking over.
Well, Monchi's done that, hasn't he? He was, Unai Emery has gone out there. They've brought in San Paulo. They've got a couple of players lined up. He's already had lined up. We've seen at Southampton, haven't got a manager yet, but are selling Victor Wanyama to Tottenham. So those people will do it, and it is important. Like you say, your manager can go at the end of the season, but you might have an opportunity to bring in that player just at that time, and you've no manager, but let's get him. The player wants to come to you. Listen, we replaced the manager with X, Y, or Z, but you're in now, and Everton haven't had that, and I think that again that adds to the mystique almost and the excitement. Is that again, this is something very different to what we've ever had, and it's something that proves to me, or certainly gives encouragement to me that we want to achieve things. We don't just want to be little old Everton again now, you know, plucky Everton that we've been, you know, labelled with for a number of years now. We actually want to be Everton that does things, and the director of football role will do that.
And it lets the manager focus on his day-to-day job of being the manager and not taking away from that. But it also, and I think this is really important, it keeps non-football people out the conversation at the football club. I can't stress how important that is. That I've said this before. If someone at the football club, if we did it, I don't think we'd need to be an Everton football player. If there was a director of football, I think another set of footballing eyes would have looked and gone, not a chance. I'm not paying 14 million. Pardon?
I think something. Let's just say that wasn't unanimous.
But what I'm saying is, though, if you've got a director of footballing, these things sort themselves out. But unfortunately, when there's just a manager or that kind of structure, then the manager says to the next door man, listen, got a player here, looks alright. Wow, how much? 14 million? Are you sure? Alright, I'll trust you. And then it's like bing bang bosh. Whereas this is like the buffer, isn't it? Alright, the director of football players to go up to the next fella and go, I need the money for this fella. But the fella upstairs knows that he's got a buffer between. It's like on this show, it's like if it was just all down to me, there'd be balloon animals, and we'd be shut down now for things I can't even talk about. Baz is the director of football. He gets it all smoothed out for us, right? If it was all down to me,
Monty,
honest to God, to be like, I'd have a tiger, a real tiger on the
Listen,
couch.
no, we leave the tiger alone. That was back in March. Leave that. No, I think you're right.
I did leave the tiger alone.
Do you know the point? The other thing with that, it's a really good point actually in terms of the non-football person, because it goes that way as well with if you get knocked back by this player or this club. If you're the director of football, you know football, and you think, listen, I want him, we want him. If you're just a different person, an accountant, say, in that role, or something,
but you like rugby league,
then you can look at something and go, well, he's not really that interested, and he won another 3 million, so we can't have him. So should we go to where this director of football is like, well, he's what we want, and you know, I just think there's lots of it. Like you said before, you know, if we were to get, say, it was Monty, I'm saying it is going to be Monty, but if it was Monty or
Overmars
or whatever, come in, Koeman, they could sit down, Ronald Koeman, I want a goalkeeper who plays down on the south coast. For a team that wears red and white, is quite good.
Looks like the Hulk.
Looks a bit like that. He's big. Everton should have bought him for 3 million when they had the chance. You want him, he can go back to the training ground and let him go off and do what he's doing. Let him, knowing that I trust him. No, do I actually trust you to do the negotiation? Because a manager we had before the last one didn't ever trust.
No. And he was probably
the people above, and he was probably spot on. Hence why he jumped on a plane.
Hence why he
flew on a private jet to get Fellaini.
I was going to say why he was running around the hotel at like 1 o'clock in the morning in it was in France.
The metro.
Yeah, running around looking for a fax machine at 1 o'clock in the morning.
It was 12 officially.
No, it was one over there.
The hour,
Continental.
Well, exactly, and there was other things with that, you know what I mean, and that same manager went out and could have had Hazard and Dzeko for a fraction of the price, but we didn't have the money. But it's that kind of thing, isn't it? So the manager, if it's like, you know, we trust him to do it, I'm fine, I can get back to...
As long as they've got defined roles.
Yeah.
Because that's where it's failed in this country, especially at Spurs. Spurs, it seems to fail. Spurs have, they have the manager, they have a director of football, and then they have what's his name? The fellow who buys everyone. What's his name? Levy. So Levy, it's almost like Levy is doing too many jobs.
Yeah.
And I think it's been sort of relaxed in the time where Pochettino's been there. It's been, they found the perfect way to work it. They got rid of the guy, the Italian guy. They got rid of the guy. They got
Baldini, didn't he?
And they've worked it out now. Whereas it almost feels like Machini's gonna go, well, got the manager. What do you think's better? Well, I've worked with this. Well, that's the system. And when we go and interview someone, will say, this is what you do, and you don't do that. You don't buy the players, and he doesn't just coach the players, and they go, sound, and that's it. We're all intelligent grown-ups. We know what to do, and hopefully it'll work.
Well, that's the model he wants. It looks on paper like, as long as, like you say, for me, it's as long as Ronald Koeman's got a real input, because we see him, just touching on Tottenham, when Gareth Bale went, we see him, Villas-Boas, come out and say, I didn't want those 7 players we bought. I only wanted one of them. The other 6 were bought by Camoli.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do I do with them?
What, you know, they wouldn't fit in. You know, why have I got them? So you're looking. That for me will never work. Liverpool almost had it, didn't he? Brendan Rodgers has come out and gone. Half of them, like, he didn't want Balotelli. I think it's quite obvious he didn't want Balotelli. But nobody come out and
said...
That
was a commercial buy, wasn't it?
Exactly, but some of them players I didn't want. So therefore it gets the manager off the hook, I think. Whereas if you've got this in place and they're working hand in hand, then you've got more likely to succeed. Because if you're the manager and I'm the director of football and I'm going, who do you want to buy? You want to buy him. It's more likely to succeed because you know how he's going to fit in your plans. Where if I just plonk someone on you, you're trying to shoe on.
And as you're saying there, the other side of it is, it's not just the first team. I'm sure it's working with other areas, and we've seen in the last 12 months where, you know, whatever you want to say about Martinez was actually, seemed like he was a better director of football than he was, because he was getting all the training grounds sorted and all that. And maybe that kind of thing was keeping him away from the things he should have been focusing on at the time. And also, another thing I'll say about the director of football, we'd had a director of football under Martinez. At some point in last season, the director of football would have pulled Martinez and gone, do you know what? This is pathetic what you're trying to do. We need to get a coaching. Simple as that. Whereas sometimes if you get that gap, and like you've just said, if the next person from the manager is an accountant, doesn't know nothing about football, and he goes, well, I trust him, I'm sure he'll get it all right. He seems all right, smells lovely. Does Roberto. He'll go, oh, I can't get involved, I don't know enough. The direct football will go, what are you doing? What are you trying to do?
Listen, badly on him as well.
I think we're going, so rather than get to that situation, you have a meeting halfway through the season, you go, listen, I really think we need to go and look for a top class defensive coach, because I don't think that's your strong point.
And they've got to be, of course, the manager's got to be comfortable working with that. Maybe Roberto Martinez wouldn't have been comfortable working with that. Maybe Everton would never have done it under the previous. Obviously, it's something Farhad Moshiri.
Well, it isn't a new thing, but it's a very much a continental way of looking at things, and we've had very much a British way for the last few years, and even Roberto Martinez to a point is pretty much British, isn't he? I'm sure he's been regaled by Dave Whelan's tales.
Oh, for many years.
For many years, probably
still is.
Probably is. Probably telling about his leg as we speak.
Right. His leg?
I don't know, but I think Joe Ledley's story's better now. So, tell us what you think. Director of football, do you understand what it is? Does it excite you? Do you think we need one? And if you've got any suggestions, let us know who they are as well. Give us a thumbs up, give us a share, tell the world, subscribe if you haven't already. Catch us soon on Toffee TV. The wave's back.